Are you helping the daddy? Let me see. Speak. What'd you say? Oh, good boy.
Ow, you dog! Okay guys, this video right now is going to be about refurbishing an old two-stroke dirt bike. Japanese. Why Japanese two-stroke? Well, number one, it's Japanese, so you can get parts for it. Why a two-stroke? Well, do I really need to answer that question? I think not. For those of you who are not motorcyclists, I'll tell you that two-strokes are awesome. They make more power per displacement than four-strokes. I started my motocross career on a two-stroke. I started my road racing career on a two-stroke, and I prefer two-strokes. I haven't raced a motocross bike on a motocross track in 25 years. This particular example happens to be an RM250. It was advertised on Craigslist as a 2000. When I ran the VIN number has a T for the 10th digit, which tells me the chassis is a 1996. The back brake hose isn't connected. The back wheels all moving around. I don't know what condition the bearings are in or if the caliper works. The front brake works. It has hydraulic pressure with decent suspension and a frame that looks fairly straight. You know, you see the fender's not all completely cocked off the center line of the wheel. So I think I got a fairly straight swing arm and a fairly straight frame. Decent suspension that's serviceable. I do suspect radiator problems or cooling system problems. Mr. Mike was honest enough to disclose to me that he saw water coming out of the engine through the gaskets. And I know from doing a little bit of internet research that these 96s through 2000s, which are the engine cases that fit that bolt pattern, have internal water pumps. You see this space here is empty, where normally on most two-stroke dirt bikes that's filled up with a water pump area in front of the clutch. This one has a big recession there, a big depression in the case. So it definitely has the internal water pump setup. So the good news on this deal is I got the bike for 400 bucks, okay? I told Mr. Mike, he asked me for more than that, but I said, Mr. Mike, we know we got to do an engine. I got to refurb the whole thing. I'm going to build this bike, and I'm hoping to get the whole thing up and running for under $2,000. One of these in good shape, working well, functioning properly, looking halfway, not tore up and okay looking, is worth $2,000. The two strokes are still popular. They hold their value because they're awesome, because they're better than four strokes. You know, I don't have my good stand with me here today. My good stand's at work. All my good tools are at work because I'm a motorcycle mechanic, service manager by trade. So all my good tools are always at work. So I'm just working here at the house off an old hillbilly style Home Depot bucket. But hey, I am in the South. I am working out of a mobile home trailer. I am working off of a bucket. Guess that officially now does in fact make me a hillbilly. Alright guys, I'm going to turn the camera off, start ripping parts off of it. As I get into points of interest through the teardown, I'll turn the camera back on and point to things that I'm looking at if I think it's important for you to know. And God bless, ride safe, wear your helmets. Oh, look at that. Comes with a quick detached seat. Check that out. Oh. Quick detached fuel tank too. See if this fuel valve works. Yeah, there's something down in there. Nothing's coming out. I know the carburetor's not hanging on the end of the throttle. I have it. It's in the van. I gotta go get a bucket for all the hardware. So yeah, there's no clamp even on there's no clamp on this radiator hose. It's just sitting there, and there's bolts missing, nuts already missing off the studs on the top of the head. So somebody's obviously recently been through here and tried to do work to it and not been successful with that. Quick little way to check your radiators to see if you got holes in them. You see this kind of impact damage here. Rocks getting up in it. The frame's bent on the inside. Crushed the fins over, pushed them into a core. I mean, that's common damage for motocross radiators. But the way to see if they're a quick, easy way to see if they're leaking real bad is just to go like this, seal them up. If you don't hear any obvious leaks and can't push air through, then they're worth pressurizing and testing and trying to use later. If you do that and air just rushes right out, throw it away. They're so cheap. By the time you weld it up and pay a professional to TIG weld it and all that stuff, unless it's some one-off custom Arma vintage piece, then there's TIG welding that can be done. You guys know who you are. We got what looks like maybe a brand new plug that's just rusted. Looks like it got water on it and rusted. But there's no burnt carbon. You know, usually you get black carbon from burning. There's no burning marks anywhere on this. So this was a brand new plug. This thing probably stopped running, and they're probably at the local dirt bike track going, "Oh, I want my bike run." Well, put a new spark plug in it. Well, that didn't work. So this brand new spark plug's been sitting in there with moisture around it for Lord knows how long, probably from the cooling system would be my guess, and not working. So let's at least see if we get spark. And yes, I have spark. Ho-ho! That's good. That's good news. So let's screw the plug back in and see what kind of compression we have. I'm going to pull the front wheel off. What does that have to do with compression? Well, nothing. But my stand is my hillbilly southern stand here is a little bit weak, so I'm going to get the front wheel off, or maybe it'd be easier to do the back for now. Either way, and get a wheel off so I got a more stable platform. I mean, oh, look at that. Whoa, that's not correct. Somebody's got the wrong axle and the wrong spacers and the wrong hub. Okay, let's check this out. Let's research this. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but the axle correctly fits the hub bearings. So I got the right axle and I got the right hub. What I do not have are the right spacers, because I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but look how much they wiggle on and off. That's absolutely wrong. So I'm either going to have to buy the correct ones, or if I feel like taking a couple hours one night, mill them out, spin them out on the lathe, then cut a couple new ones out. Well, what happens is the plastics get chewed out and the bolts get corroded from power washing and rust, and those bolts take those fittings and start making them loose in the plastic when you're trying to unscrew them and get them out. And what I have in that air box, on the other side of that air box plastic, is one of these is in the air box just spinning when I turn the nut, because they jammed the wrong size nut on the stud and the threads didn't match. So they just boogered it all up, and I just got to go through and tear everything apart. And when you're reassembling these, it's good to either grease them or or what I just do is just WD-40. It's quick, easy, cheap.